So, according to the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, it defines what trafficking is. And when you talk about the sex trafficking aspect of this Protection Act, it says that sex trafficking is in which a commercial sex act is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such an act has not attained the age of 18. So it does include adults. But it's reminding us that, and if someone gets caught for human trafficking and it's an under 18-year-old, you can best believe they're going to do a lot of time. So it also includes the harboring, recruitment, transportation, provision, obtaining a person for labor services through the use of force, fraud, or coercion. Now, it's really easy for us to understand the force and fraud aspect of it. You can kind of see that. What you can't see is the coercion piece, and that coercion piece is extremely powerful because that's where that emotional bonding comes in. And that's just like what Diane was saying. It makes it very hard for them to break away because they have emotionally bonded. And what was interesting in that piece that she talked about is that that part where he says something to the effect of they become their hero, even if they created the weakness. That's pretty powerful when you really think about the manipulation, coercion piece in that. And that can happen to anybody. And it happens to a lot of people on other levels. You know, we all know that person who is involved in it, man or woman, that's in love, and they are so tightly bonded, they can't even see how this person is leading them down the wrong path. It may not be to the it may not be to the level of where it comes to the crime of prostitution, but we know people that really compromise their value system for that person that they have fallen in love with. And if you can understand that, then you can understand how these women get involved in become victims of this coercion piece. So according to the statistics, the average age of entrance is between 12 and 14 years old. Depending on where you're looking at the research, I've seen it as young as 10. In the lower scale, yeah, it's out there. I know for me, when I was in, and I can only attest to working bikes out here in the valley, and I would say I was seeing an average between 15 and 25 is what I was actually seeing. That was an average. I did run into a 12-year-old. So it's not to say that they're not out there. And we're also talking about California. I don't know what's going on in Wyoming. So, and you got to remember this, is that whenever you're talking about statistics, regardless of whether it's the entry age or you're talking about the amount of money that's made, remember that's going to be based solely on arrest records. Or on the number of arrests, the arrestees. So if you were never arrested, nobody even knows that you're out there, right? So these are numbered ballpark figures that you'll hear me speak of tonight. They're not complete absolute. Bottom line is, we know that there are children that are being trafficked. That we're real clear on. That there are children as well as adults. We've had clients that have come in here that have been recruited at the age of 18, 19, 23. And that's when they started. Interesting in my research this weekend, what I also found was that the younger that they're recruited, the longer they stay in. So if they were recruited at like 13, conceivably, they have found women that have been in the life for 20 years. When you think about it, when you really think about that, for my psychology and sociology students, when you talk about the socialization of a young child, right, that's those formative years, very impressionable, very rebellious time, right? So once they get in, it's because of their arrest record. It's because of the emotional bonding. It makes it really difficult for them to get out. They were saying that if it was over 18, usually they'll stay in I want to say it said somewhere between 7 and 9 years on an average. So that I found that to be very interesting, and however so true, because that's what we're finding in our clients. Would you agree?